So welcome acupuncturists to day 2 of the British Conference of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine. For those of you who didn't get the chance to meet me yesterday in the Business Development Mindset breakout session, or would have already been familiar with me from before, my name is Alan Longcroft. I sit on the board of the British Acupuncture Council, and it is my pleasure to open day 2 of our fabulous conference. We will be starting with a session which I am especially excited about. We will be having the chance to hear from students from across several BAAB accredited colleges. This, I feel, speaks to what I feel is one of the crowning jewels of the acupuncture profession in the UK, and the BAAC's involvement in what we have as our infrastructure, what has allowed us as acupuncturists to be in practice today, to be in practice and representing the high standard of the British Acupuncture Council, and that is the BAAB accredited LICAC diploma, with our 6 accredited colleges who offer wide varieties of practice at each college. Myself, I've had the pleasure of training at 3 of the individual BAAB accredited colleges between acupuncture, Tuina, and Chinese herbal medicine, and experienced that each environment is itself unique. We'll be hearing first of all from Janice Booth with a 10-minute presentation on this. We'll be hearing from Mike Cummings with a biomedical perspective of acupuncture. And we'll be carrying on with the proceedings of day 2 of the conference today. Now, the full biographies of all of our speakers today and a full description of each of their events is available in the delegates handbook for the conference. I encourage you to look through there, as there's some great information, several things that I myself was not aware of. But before we proceed with proceedings today, I would just say that this conference and why we're here today would not be possible were it not for the generous sponsorship from two institutions who have generously offered sponsorship. We have accepted sponsorship from Suwen Herbs, who offer platinum sponsorship for this weekend's conference, and Northern College of Acupuncture. You will have opportunity to visit the virtual stands for both of these groups today, and I do encourage you to do so. When this is possible, you'll be prompted to follow one of the breakout room options to go visit either the Suwen Herbs virtual stand or the Northern College of Acupuncture virtual stand, who offer a practitioner hub of CPD courses available to acupuncturists and other therapists. Without further ado, I will let Janice introduce the next session and the speakers who will be involved in this talk. I hope you all join me in offering them a warm virtual welcome, some waves or some reactions within the Zoom function. One of these poor students did send me a message last week to say that they were doing this talk, and I was a bit surprised to see a student that I knew, and said, "Oh, you know." So it's something I'm very much looking forward to. Janice Booth, welcome to the British Conference of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your introduction, Alan. You've taken several words out of my mouth, which is wonderful. I'm just going to pass a little thanks also to Alex, who I do know for our mutual connections with Kickham. What a wonderful start that was. So, I think this session speaks for itself, really, doesn't it? In terms of the BAB and the BXC and the wonderful sort of twin partnership that has evolved between the two. I guess what I will just say first of all is that I am deputising for Mike Sachs, the chair of the BAB, who was unable to attend. And I really hope he wishes to apologise for his absence, obviously, and wish everybody all the best. And I hope I will equally do justice to the few comments I shall make about the BAB and indeed my connection with it. And I guess all of you know something of the BAB, some know more than others, but it started in 1990. And my connection with the Accreditation Board goes back pretty much that far, intermittently. And I'd like to say, really, though this isn't about me, that the various proverbial hats I've worn have led me to have a real passion for education. A passion for education, which started indeed with me as a teacher in secondary schools in a previous career that feels a long, long time ago. And then subsequently, after my own training as an acupuncturist and setting up to joining the college in Reading at Kickham and becoming a teacher and a program leader there. Equally, I guess with the BAAB, I've had commitments with education and student services and indeed the conference for quite a number of years. So the passion really sort of speaks for itself, I guess. I feel totally connected to good education and see it and want to see it in practice in all of our colleges. So with the BAAB, I guess central to the work of the Accreditation Board is its close and very supportive partnership with the BAAB, which of course, as we all know, is the leading self-regulatory body for the practice of traditional acupuncture in this country. And these two flagship organisations share the very common and important objective of ensuring that all our practitioners, all those who register with the BAAB, are bottom line, safe, competent and professional. But I guess it's so much more than that. It's about excellence and exemplary. And I think our 6 students today, as Alan said, coming from the 6 representative accredited institutions, are going to demonstrate that to us rather than me try to use the words to suggest it. What I'm impressed with about the BAAB and indeed BAAB is that it doesn't stand still. It responds to circumstance, and my goodness, have we not had a circumstance to respond to in these last 18 months or so. I've been very impressed with the way BAAB and indeed BAAB have supported both students and practitioners through the pandemic. It seems to me that collectively we've managed our way with openness and flexibility and all the sensitivity that you might expect. And I know letters of support were sent out to students, for example, and reassurances, especially to those close to graduating, about practical elements in their courses that were being not bypassed but delayed. And of course all practitioners whose clinics were in various stages of suspension. And looking to the future, I know as someone who sits on the board currently, that nothing stands still in terms of the BAAB looking to connect with avenues for future accreditation with Europe-wide colleges, and indeed setting up some links with the US as well. So I feel that all of our exemplary standards go before us, and I hope that we increasingly will be known and stay very established as top of our game. I'd like to just draw on a number of the words that BAB shares with BACC in terms of our approach, perhaps our key tenets and principles, if you like. And I've listed them so that I don't forget any of them. I think they're all so important. So student focused, starting with that. I know with my own experience in one particular college, and I do know that there is parity, and that's partly what the BAB is about, ensuring that all of our students are offered parity and equivalence in the courses that they undertake. Really important that the student voice is heard, and doesn't that just illustrate what's happening today? Practice-led, keeping our feet on the ground and listening to practitioners. I know BACC and BAB equally are responsive to what's going on. Patient-centered, of course, BAAB's key focus is ensuring safety for the general public. Appropriate, responsive, collaborative, equitable, effective, accountable. Collectively, these words come to quite a lot, don't they, in our minds? Critically self-aware and academically rigorous. I would certainly hold with that as a teacher and an ongoing programme leader in the college in Reading. So I don't know where I go from there. I've listed all the key words. I feel that what happens with our graduates, those that gain automatic entry, of course, from accredited institutions, is that our practitioners have a gold standard, and they are highly esteemed. And I hope that the public continue to recognise that. So today's 1 hour session, what we will be privy to is, I'm sure, some exemplary and fascinating and intriguing and questioning case notes from new and upcoming members of the profession, people who studied in diverse accredited institutions but share a common commitment. So truly, this is a celebration of our education and an illustration really of how far we have come since 1990. I'd like to, yes, indeed, introduce these good people. So from ICOM, we have Josh Barrow. We have from KICM, we have Chloe Chattington. From NCA, Kate Ritchie. TAA, Sarah Christian. Lincoln, Richard Bills. And CCA, Andrea Dewhurst. And I, for one, I'm so looking forward to hearing what you have to say. So I'd like to thank you for listening briefly to my little ramble, and I shall pass back to Alan to get us into our breakout rooms. Thank you, Alan, and thank you all.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, Janice, for these words. And I would just echo this also. The collaboration between the BACC and the BAAB really is what has made our profession able to be what it is today. We do, fortunately, actually have a few spare minutes, which is quite unheard of in conference planning. So we will have opportunity to take just a couple of questions if anybody has any so far. For any questions for Janice in particular, or for any of the students who will be coming to speak in a moment. If you'd like to ask a question, if you'd like to follow the chat box function and just start your question with the word question, that helps us throughout the conference today to spot, as we're flicking through this chat box, to see where there are questions for our speakers today. Alternatively, you can use the raise your hand function, and we will be able to invite you to unmute yourselves to ask questions. Grand. So we'll be inviting people to attend the breakout sessions in just a couple of minutes. We'll be popping directions onto the screen here. Josh Barrow from ICOM will be presenting on lessons from a first-year student. Chloe Chattington will be presenting on a clearing a mindset and supporting the heart. Katie Ritchie will be presenting learning from observation in a teaching clinic. Sarah Christian exploring the use of 5-element acupuncture in the treatment of gout. And Richard Bills will be looking to the face of an alternative direction. And Andrea Dewhurst on amenorrhea when acupuncture wasn't enough. Grand. So we will invite people to attend these breakout rooms now. There is a special little 4-square icon you can follow to do this if you weren't already in the joining us with our session yesterday and you aren't already familiar. This, if you're on a desktop computer, this can be found at the bottom of your screen. Once you've clicked through to here, you'll be able to see we have 3 separate breakouts between our 6 students. It's we're quite split for choice. I encourage you to go visit the students who perhaps you're less familiar with. Now, I know for myself that I'm very familiar with some of the college's work, but if there are any that you aren't so familiar with, I encourage you to make your selection on that basis. We still have a couple of people in the main room, so I won't necessarily rush anybody out. If anybody is having any issue in finding these breakout rooms, do let me know. I hope the instructions on the screen are plenty clear. This is quite like choosing from a restaurant menu. You don't totally know what the dishes are going to look like. The title sounds great. Grand. So, Helen, do we have you in the main room at the moment? Perhaps
yes,
not.
I'm still here.
Lovely.
I can move people over if you want to put in the chat. I'll come back on just a minute. I've just got to start one of the breakout sessions with the recordings, and then I'll be back over here.
And then you'll be back in. Lovely. Okay.